every month. Call 314-567-GOLD now and give yourself a payment break. That's 314-567-GOLD. Or visit goldenoaklending.com. NMLS 114937.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct at Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
So the weather outside is frightful, and Annie gets to take today off. Good move on her part. Hey, it's Mike Elam sitting in for the Annie Frey Show today. So Annie's gone today. Wiggins is gone today. Leah is gone today. Thank God that Brad decided to brave the elements and make it in here today. I'm thankful for you. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate that, Mike.
I got to tell you, when I woke up this morning and I saw that stuff, so my wife is a hairstylist, and so she got everything all ready for today, so she was going to be ready to go because her first appointment was at 9 o'clock this morning. And about 8 is when her day just started falling apart. It was
Yeah.
like, nope. So she went from a first appointment at 9 a.m. to when I left the house, she had an appointment at 4. So her day just opened up. She was going to be booked from 9 to 9 today.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I got a text message. So I'm signed up for alerts because I have to schedule my haircuts.
Okay.
Because it's since COVID, that's the way it's been.
I know. I completely understand.
Always a walk-in guy. It's like, I've got time. Let me walk in.
Can I tell you, your hairstylist appreciates the fact that you pre-book?
Well, now I
being
do.
someone who's been married to one for 30 plus years, they really appreciate knowing that you're coming back.
But then but because of that, I'm on a text message alerts and all this other stuff, and I get this text message like, hey, we're closing all of our locations today, so Look After Hair Company in this area apparently is closed.
Well, if you're one of those people who has been home all day, and maybe your work canceled today, I know my full-time job canceled today, my part-time job canceled today, so both the I-3 offices and St. Charles County offices were closed today. And if you've seen some of the video, there is a crazy video that Brad and I both saw this morning of a fire truck. What is an Imperial?
That's what the tweet that I saw said, Imperial. It could have been a different town. I'm just going off of what the person who tweeted the video said.
So it was crazy if you haven't seen it, but the neighborhood was all iced over, and the fire truck is coming down the street, and it starts spinning. And it slams into this blue car. Man. And I can't tell from the video if it knocked the car into the house or just got it really close to the house. But it looks like it may have knocked the car into the garage door that was there. And then it slams into this pickup truck and slides right up next to the house. I mean, it looked like it was going straight into that house, but it just mixed it by a little bit.
Yeah, I saw another video from some security cam footage. A van came in and spun over, and then the video kind of cuts, and then the fire department, coming to see this rollover van. 'Cause I say rollover, it tipped onto its side.
Okay. That counts in my book.
Yeah.
It rolled off his wheels.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
over to
you
its
say
side.
rollover, and people think
like
multiple barrel rolls and
Right.
Wheels flying off. It was just kind of like it was a slow roll into the curb. It hit the curb, and then it dumped over. Well, the fire department came to respond, and you see fire trucks doing things that fire trucks don't usually do. It's looking like Tokyo Drift out there.
It's just sliding sideways coming around.
Yeah, it's wild.
The guy in the back should not be more in front than the guy driving.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
Maybe one of those ladder trucks where they have the steering wheel in the back, you can get away with some of that stuff. But just a regular straight fire truck, no.
I went out and salted my driveway this morning because I've got one of those slanted driveways. So I went out and salted that and salted the walkway up to my house because I'm convinced that some delivery person is going to be dropping off stuff because I think I have stock in Amazon. If I don't, I should. I have a package at my house every flipping day, and I don't order it. So, but I'm not here to vent about that right now. But I watch my neighbor come down the street, and he's got the same kind of driveway that I do. As he starts to go up his driveway, he gets to 3/4 of the way at the top, and then you see him start sliding backwards.
Oh, no.
Luckily, across the street, nobody had cars out or anything, so he just slid back to the end of his driveway, decided to park in front of his house, and make his way through the grass as opposed to going up that way. So if you haven't been out today, thank God that you didn't have to get out today, but I can tell you, and Brad and I had the same experience. Once you get out of your neighborhood, then even some of the side streets, but I wouldn't say all, but once you get out of your neighborhood and some of the major side streets, everything cleared off and it was just wet.
Yeah, they were able to get those roads treated apparently, and,
Yeah.
and the treatment was doing what the treatment should do because usually when you see the treatment work, it's because it's like not work. It's because it's too cold out or there was too much water or something before that washed it off or whatever. But the conditions were right today. If they had the roads treated, there was a lot of salt still, I think, from earlier treatments with that snow and stuff, that once you got off the back streets, the roads kind of were okay. They were more wet than slick.
So you drove in from Illinois.
Yes.
So IDOT obviously was doing a good job.
Yeah.
MoDOT, in my experience this morning, did a fantastic job. So we slam them on a regular basis this morning or this afternoon as we've crossed noon now. Congratulations to both MoDOT and IDOT for doing a great job on the major roadways. Well done, guys. And I know being out in St. Charles, a lot of the side roads, by me, those were all pretty clear. They were just wet. So by the most part, folks did a really nice job today. So great job to all the highway workers and the MoDOT folks, IDOT stuff. Great job for you guys. If you don't want to get out, I don't blame you. But thank God that you're listening to the radio today, because if you weren't, we'd be broadcasting livestock. It's an old radio joke, but it still works. Hey, our YouTube live chat poll of the day, if you haven't heard, we're basically down to Nikki and Donald. That's kind of where we are. I think Asa Hutchinson is still officially in this
he's
race.
Still there, but
I don't think anyone's cared that Asa ever joined the race. So, I mean, going back a year and a half ago when he said he was running and people went, really? Why? Like, you're a former governor of Arkansas, but you're not Huckabee. So nobody really cares. So your YouTube live chat poll of the day is, who do you support for the Republican nominee? Is it Nikki Haley, Donald Trump, or I'm voting third party? So you can get your votes on that, and we will talk about that poll at the end of the day. It's been interesting watching all these polls. I mean, DeSantis is out, and we could talk about that as we go along today. But DeSantis didn't really give a ringing endorsement of Trump, and I get it, right? So there's been a lot of bad blood between the two of them over this past year. And they've gone after each other pretty well.
Yeah, it was, I would even say, too, it wasn't so much between DeSantis and Trump as it was between Team DeSantis and Team Trump.
I would agree with that, but I think they had the sanctimonious and all that
Yeah.
stuff, I don't think he appreciated, but I wouldn't either if I was him, and I get it. But that's water under the bridge. He did come out. His endorsement of Trump was really more of, I am endorsing the Republican nominee because Joe Biden is horrible. And that's kind of what he did. He did get a dig in for a never Nikki.
Yeah.
And talk about the fact of, hey, we've got to come together and coalesce behind Donald Trump because we don't need this old guard fake Republican basically stuff that he slammed about Nikki. So he has joined the Never Nikki team and has come up there. Tim Scott has endorsed her in South Carolina. Did you see Tim Scott got engaged?
He got engaged. Congratulations.
How about that? He got an endorsement and an engagement all in the same weekend. Yeah. Nice job. And I got to tell you, I didn't know that he wasn't married.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was part of the thing. That's like he's not married, and he's been a senator, and he's, what is he? He's in his 50s, correct?
I think so.
And like then also, when that comes out, then there's all sorts of speculation about him and all this other stuff. And so during his presidential run, he announced that he's like, no, I have a girlfriend.
I got a girl. I'm not alone, right?
Yeah.
I'm good with people. I swear to you. I've swiped right or whatever it is that you're supposed to do.
Yep. But
I have somebody. So he's officially engaged. I bet Trump would come to his wedding. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
So now you've got the governor of South Carolina, the senator of South Carolina. Both senators of South Carolina have both endorsed Trump. Nikki's losing support a little bit of everywhere. So I'm sure if you listen to the Annie Frey show, you well know, but just for the record, New Hampshire is tomorrow night or tomorrow. So that's going to happen. It's a normal primary. It's not a caucus. So we'll get the voting from, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then I'm sure at 7:15 they'll call the election for Trump. I'm going to go on record and say we won't make it to 7:30 Central Time. I'm going to say by 7:30 Central Time they're going to call the election for Trump.
The polls close at 7 Eastern.
7. Oh, that's true. 7 Eastern.
Yeah.
So by 6:30 Central.
Yeah.
They will have called.
I think as soon as the polls close and it's okay to make a call, they'll make the call.
Exactly. Hey, we're going out on a limb, and judging by our exit poll results, we're going to say that Nikki just got her ass handed to her. That's pretty much. They may word it differently, but that's pretty much where I think this thing's going to come down. We are done. Can we just admit that? I mean, I don't know where Nikki Haley's going with this, and I don't really understand why, but I guess I do. She wants to say, I was the last man standing, and I made it at least 2 primaries.
Yeah, I think she's hoping that maybe the DeSantis crowd, some of the it would need to be a significant portion of the DeSantis crowd. I think she's hoping that those voters will come over, and they're actually not just DeSantis supporters, but they would be never Trump supporters.
And it doesn't look like it.
I don't think so. Yeah,
No.
I think that's a huge miscalculation on her part. I think I said this to Annie and Ryan right after Iowa. It's like, well, if DeSantis drops out, the lion's share of his voters are going to. I mean, there might be 2 or 3% that come and vote Nikki, but
Fox said this morning 65 to 70% of the voters they have surveyed that were former DeSantis are saying they're voting for Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump is policy-wise the most similar candidate to Ron DeSantis.
Right. I mean, everybody would always talk about DeSantis was Trump without the issues, right? He was a kinder, gentler, no mean tweet Donald Trump.
He was a Trump 2.0, refined, more of a politician than a businessman. His attacks were pointed, but they were directed at the media. They weren't wild and from the hip. They were thought out and well managed. And
he's a much more cerebral guy. Let's call it that way. So polished is a really good word to use for that. So DeSantis leaving, Tim Scott endorsed, the governor endorsed. Of course, he already had the other senator from South Carolina has been with him for a while.
Yeah.
So it seems like everybody in South Carolina is going that way, and Nikki continues to fall in those polls. The poll I saw this morning had Trump at 52, Nikki at 36 in New Hampshire. And that was her getting 100% of the Chris Christie vote.
Yeah.
Because if you were voting for Chris Christie, you're a never Trumper.
Right.
I mean, that's done, right? So that part is done. They have moved on. we'll see what happens tomorrow. And I think tomorrow is probably going to be the nail in the coffin.
It needs to be. I don't know if she can afford to go to her home state and get beat there.
Well, she talked about, you mean afford in terms of her reputation and her brand.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I was thinking afford in terms of dollars. And she was talking about this morning in an interview that I saw that she has saved her money. And I thought, I don't know that was a good move.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you had some dollars, you probably should have thrown them out there. But I can't imagine running against a former president, especially you can do a point A, point B, and just compare the two. And when you look at Trump and his 4 years, and you look at Biden and the 3 that we've had so far, you've got to say Trump was a much better time for our country. You don't have to like him. You can hate Donald Trump if you want. I don't care. But you've got to look at objectively. You've got to look at everything and see, okay, this is what the country was like under him. Here's what the country's like under Biden. You've got an A/B test that you have done, and it's the first time in over 100 years that you get to do a mulligan for a guy who's back in the race. So it's going to be interesting to see where the voters decide to go on that. We'll see how it plays out. Hey, we have got a lot to get to today on the show. We've got a lot of guests. Missouri Secretary of State and candidate for governor for the great state of Missouri, Jay Ashcroft, is going to join us coming up in just a little bit. We're going to talk with St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder. He is also running for the Missouri Senate in the 15th District. Steve Moore is going to join us from the Heritage Foundation. Cody Smith, who is the Missouri State Representative, he is a candidate for treasurer for the state of Missouri. And then we've got Matt Pauley that's going to join us as well. That is a whole lot to squeeze in here in the fastest 3 hours of radio. It just seems to go that way. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today on the Annie Frey Show. Jay Ashcroft is on the other side here at 97.1 FM Talk.
Another one bites the dust.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
What I'm about to share is something we don't talk about often enough, so I'm just going to say it. We apply deodorant to our armpits every day. It's a part of the routine, right? So why do we put up with odors on other parts of our body between showers? It's time you discovered Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. I tried it, and I noticed a difference right away, everywhere. Lumi was developed by an OBGYN. It's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, and that reassurance is worth every penny. Lumi has over 300,000 5-star reviews, and a 60-day money-back guarantee means you can try Lumi risk-free. Give Lumi Whole Body Deodorant a try and start controlling your body odor better, everywhere.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code RISKFREE and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack, and ships free with code RISKFREE. LUMEdeodorant.com, code RISKFREE, and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code RISKFREE.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Frey, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Do you worry about losing your nest egg with the volatility of the stock market? Would you like to know why linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than most investment options? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's
Now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published taxpayer bill of rights which says you have the right to retain legal representation because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here. Not because of a label, but because conservative ideas actually work. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Well, we hope you're enjoying the weather today. It is frightful as the song goes, but if you get out on the main roads, if you haven't heard, the main roads are actually not that bad. So once you get out of your neighborhood, it may not be a beautiful day in your neighborhood, but it gets a lot better once you get out of there. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today. Thank you for being a part of this Monday, cold, wintry, kind of blah weather day. But there is a whole lot going on for us to talk about. One of those has to do with a brief that just got filed by Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, and he is joining us on the phone today. Mr. Secretary, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me, and everybody be safe on the roads.
Hey, man, I'm glad that you could be available today. I really appreciate that. I appreciate Elijah for always making sure that we stay in touch. He's a good guy. You know, you have the best friends.
He is a good guy, and I just feel it's my responsibility to be accessible to the people of the state. How can you be a good public servant if you don't listen to the public?
Boy, that's true. You have had a really great, well-rounded career, and I don't know how many people realize. I mean, you started off as an engineer, you were a professor, you got your law degree, and now you've been Secretary of State. But that's why some people may be wondering, wait, the Secretary of State filed a lawsuit. What's up with that? So some people may not understand that. So I just wanted you to kind of to explain a little bit about the lawsuit that you have filed, along with a number of other of your cohorts, if you will, around the country. Just explain a little bit about what this lawsuit is.
Yeah, the state of Colorado threw President Trump off the ballot without convicting him of any crime, without any sort of due process. The Secretary of State of Maine also threw President Trump off the ballot, once again without due process, no conviction of a crime or anything. And that case has been agreed to be heard by the United States Supreme Court as to whether or not what they did was constitutional, whether it was legal. And I don't believe that anyone should be thrown off the ballot due to allegations. I believe that every American should have the right to due process. If they're going to be thrown off the ballot because they supposedly committed a crime, they have to have it proven that they actually committed that crime before they get thrown off the ballot. So I led a group, I think there were 11 of us, 12 of us or so, secretaries of state that filed a brief with the United States Supreme Court that just simply said no one should lose their right to run for office just based on allegations, and that the authority to remove people from the ballot should not lie with election authorities. That shouldn't be the county clerk's job. It shouldn't be the Secretary of State's job. That should be something that would have to go through the legal process. Because if it doesn't, if what happened where the main Secretary of State on her own, not even an elected official by the people of the state, can throw someone off the ballot, that's going to spread. You're going to see blue states throwing off the ballot Republican congressional candidates. You're going to see red states that would end up throwing off, Democrat congressional candidates. You name it. It would tear our constitutional republic apart. The Supreme Court needs to step in.
Not to mention the fact that you should leave that up to the voters. I mean, the voters should be able to pick who they want to run. And just so people understand, the secretaries of state, you're not alone here. You've got Kansas, Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Montana, Nebraska, Ohio, Tennessee, West Virginia. People from all across the country have joined this for a lot of the same reasons of what you just said. I mean, at the end of the day, you can make this be as ugly as you wanted it to be. And if you're going to leave it up to just the secretaries of state, or in some cases even unelected bureaucrats are making the cases that said, no, I get to decide who makes the ballot and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's scary. There would have been more signers, but we had about 4 days to get everybody collected with a federal holiday in there, so it made it more difficult. But this really is about letting people choose, letting people decide. Unlike the Secretary of State of Maine, unlike the Colorado Supreme Court, I trust the people of this country. I trust the people of Missouri to make a good decision when they're allowed to.
Well, I'm sure there are some people out there who are wondering, wait, why are the secretaries of state filing this lawsuit? Why aren't the attorneys general filing this lawsuit? Is there a reason why it would come from one? I'm going to assume it's because you all are the election authorities of your states.
Well, yeah, we are the experts on the election law. We're the ones that have to live with it, that move election policy forward, that work with legislators both at the state and at the federal level to change election law. We live it every day. We're the ones that can go to the court and say, here's what's going to happen if this is truly what the Constitution says. My father used to say you wanted to back up the hearse and let people smell the roses to understand why it's a bad decision. And obviously, in my case, being an attorney, having filed briefs at the United States Supreme Court before, it just made sense. I'm Missouri's, chief officer when it comes to elections. I'm the one that knows best how to run them of our elected officials. So it just seems like the right thing for me to do.
So tell everybody a little bit about this process. Obviously, you've filed. So after you file, what's the next step in this process?
The next step in the process is that February 8th will be oral arguments at the United States Supreme Court, where the Trump campaign and the state of Colorado and other parties will be arguing that law. I will be there. I've already scheduled to be there because I want to make sure the courts understand exactly what a wrong decision could plunge this country into. And I expect to have several other secretaries of state show up to reinforce that.
So at the end of the day, what are you hoping that the Supreme Court comes back and rules? I mean, obviously, it goes without saying you don't think that they should be able to keep them off the ballot. But this is a precedent-setting case. So
yes.
What are you looking for the precedent to be?
I want the precedent to be that the decision regarding the 14th Amendment as to who may be on the ballot or who may not be on the ballot is not up to secretaries of state. It is not up to elections officials. It's either up to the courts or we're just going to say, look, anybody who wants goes on and the people decide. But we should not be making that decision.
It's interesting when you look at, the reason that some of these states are saying that Donald Trump shouldn't be allowed to be on there is because he's an insurrectionist. And I thought, well, wait, that's an allegation that hasn't even been made in a court of law for him to be convicted of. I mean, yes, I agree with you. You should have to be convicted, but there should at least be, you had charged. We don't even have a state that I know of that has even charged Donald Trump with insurrection anywhere in the country. But I may have missed that somewhere.
I haven't seen it. They haven't charged him with insurrection because they can't prove he did it, because he didn't. He didn't run an insurrection. He did not riot against the United States. We've seen Democrats do that. We've seen many elected Democrats support individuals that were trying to burn down federal buildings, were attacking federal officers that were rioting for, 100 days over 2020. Right. But no one should be removed from the ballot without due process. And regardless of what the Supreme Court says, if the people of Missouri elect Donald Trump as their nominee in the caucus, I will make sure he's on the ballot regardless of what the Supreme Court says.
Can I ask you a little bit about some other ballot issues that are kind of pending out there? Because it seems like I know there's a big fight in the Missouri Senate right now, all about initiative petition reform, and that seems to be we had a lot of reading that went on last week with a 9-hour filibuster between senators and just can't seem to agree how they're going to move forward. But you've been very busy with a lot of people who want to put stuff on our ballot through the initiative petition process. What are some of the things that people are trying to get on the ballot for us here in 2024?
Well, I'm sorry it took an election year to get the legislature to actually focus on this. This is something that I've been talking about for over 7 years now. So hopefully if they're running for office, they'll actually do something about the problem. But with regard to what's, they're trying to put abortion up in our Constitution, the right to an abortion. We see people that are talking about trying to raise the minimum wage. We see people that are trying to raise taxes on cigarettes and tobacco. We see initiative petitions on ranked choice voting. We see initiative petitions on approval voting. There are initiative petitions that would expand gambling in the state, be that kind of what you think of as sports betting, sports gambling, or that would add a new casino to the state down at the Lake of the Ozarks. There's a whole plethora, to quote one of my favorite movies, of initiative petitions that are going on. And I just believe we're better when we move those things through the legislature, when we have open comment, when we have recorded votes, and when the people have the ability really to be involved and vet what's going on.
So for people who don't really understand, because you hear about IP reform is a big thing that people talk about. And I know some people, they don't even think when you hear IP reform, they're thinking that it has to do with your internet address. It has nothing to do with going out and getting signatures. But for people who don't understand this whole process, if somebody wants to get something on the ballot, the way we sit today, not for what you're advocating for, but the way we sit today, how does that process work? Because that is a laundry list of things that people want to put on our ballots this year.
Yeah, if someone wants to put something on the ballot, they file the language with my office, and there's some restrictions for how they do that, but not a deep hurdle. My office then writes the ballot title, which is a 100-word or less, concise, complete, nonpartisan summary of what those changes would do. The auditor writes a fiscal note to explain what would happen, either more revenues, fewer revenues, higher expenses, less expenses for state or lower political subdivisions. And then those people can go out and collect signatures. If it's a constitutional amendment, they need to collect signatures from 6 of our 8 congressional districts. Takes about 175,000 signatures, depending on how you do it, depending on which congressional districts you go to. And if they collect 175,000 signatures of Missouri registered voters and they're apportioned correctly among the 6 of 8 congressional districts, then it will appear on the ballot for the people of the state to make a decision.
Do we have any, as we sit here today on the 22nd of January, do we have any of those issues that have reached that threshold and they are going to be on our ballot, or do we still have those pending?
No, the only issue, there is one issue, I believe, if I remember correctly, that will be on the ballot. That was passed by the legislature through either a House joint resolution or a Senate joint resolution. but the initiative petitions generally turn in their signatures the first or second week of May. They're due around May 13th. I haven't looked at my calendar to check the exact date. So we should know more who's actually going to turn in signatures around the 1st of May. And then we'll have a good idea, although not complete, probably by the end of June, who it looks like got enough.
Wow. So we've still a lot of time left in all of this before we find out. Are you handicapping whether or not, are you willing to say, not meaning to put you on the spot, but are you willing to say whether or not you think the legislature is going to get this IP reform done this year?
You know, I've found that you can never go wrong by betting against the legislature.
I'd say that's a safe bet, especially when you have this many of them who are running for other offices or moving to other offices in some cases that they're getting done. Speaking of which, you are running for governor of the state of Missouri. Where is your campaign these days? What's the next step for the Ashcroft campaign?
Well, right now I'm on Highway 50 headed toward the Kansas City area. Have a couple of meetings today, and I'll be at the Jackson County Republican Central Committee meeting tonight. I think tomorrow I'm down in Springfield. Beyond that, I can't keep track of my schedule. Love the reception we're getting from people. They are sick and tired. They're angry about politicians saying one thing and doing another. And I'm glad to be the only person running that not only has a record of saying the right things, but a record of accomplishing those things and a record of not changing what he's saying just because it's an election year.
Well, that is Secretary of State of the state of Missouri, Jay Ashcroft. So you're going to be at the Supreme Court filing or arguments February 2nd? Is that the date?
February 8th.
February 8th. All right. So February 8th. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear from you when you get done with that. I'd love to hear how that's going and get an update from you.
We'll all reach out. We'll set that up.
That sounds great. Well, be careful while you're out there on the roads. I know there's bad weather all over the state, so be careful out there, and we appreciate you taking some time on this Monday.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft joining us. It's kind of crazy how many things that people want to put on the ballot. And from what I understand, Missouri is one of the lowest hurdles to get something on the ballot of any state in the country. So if you don't like the legislature, especially if you happen to be on the other side. So this abortion reform is one of the big things that, Democrats are making that their number one issue to the ballot this year. So they're going to be out there getting signatures, and they are trying to get that done. I know there is a whole fight back and forth with the Secretary of State's office of how that needs to be worded, and there's lawsuits that are getting filed over all that stuff. So stay tuned. There is a lot more that's going to be determined. I agree with the Secretary. I don't see the legislature getting this done this year.
No.
I mean, I wish they would, but as we talked about the other day, you weren't here on Friday, but Mark Reardon stuck his head in for a second. And I said, what do you think about this whole filibuster that they had, a 9-hour filibuster in the Missouri Senate over IP reform that they had just on Thursday? And Mark said, I don't spend any time at all thinking about the Missouri legislature, specifically the Missouri Senate, because it is a waste of my time. I thought, wow,
Man.
Okay, that's where we are.
But at the same time, you guys have, it somewhat functions. The Illinois General Assembly, let me tell you about, that is a rubber stamp for whatever the governor wants to do.
It really is.
J.B. Pritzker says, I want this to happen, and then the Democrats in the General Assembly say, okay, and they do it. They took I think it was a pharmaceutical bill, and they gutted it at midnight and replaced it with language that banned, quote-unquote, assault weapons, passed it, and that was that. That was it. That's how they violated your rights. That's how they did it. And it wasn't even originally a bill. It didn't go through any committees. It didn't have any hearings. Even after they passed it, they have never really clarified what you do to register. The site to register your firearms wasn't up and running. Here's what you're supposed to do. Here's what needs to be registered. Does this need to be registered? There's a ton of confusion about it. They don't care.
Firearms through a pharmaceutical bill.
Yeah. They gutted that bill, and it was Katie Stewart's bill, who is a Democrat that's local here.
Yep.
They took her bill and gutted it. They had enough to pass it, so she had cover to vote no. So that covers her in her district.
Sure.
Even though I am certain she supports it, even though she voted no on it. They gutted that bill, then they passed it, and now in Illinois, assault weapons, whatever that means, they just listed a bunch of firearms and a bunch of things that they say makes it an assault weapon. These are banned. These sorts of magazines are banned. If you have all of these things, if you have this type of ammunition, you've got to register it or you're not allowed to buy it.
Wow.
So it's gone, and that's how Illinois operates. You guys are over here in Missouri like, well, there was a filibuster, and they're fighting over this stuff, and they can't come together. Illinois doesn't have a General Assembly.
Illinois says, here, hold my beer.
It's a formality in Illinois, and it is sad, and it's frustrating because if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative in Illinois, you don't have a voice.
Well, some people would tell you if you live south of I-80 in Illinois, you don't have a voice.
No, you're just you're just a piggy bank for everybody up north.
Exactly. Chicago runs everything in the state, and the rest of you are just here to finance whatever Chicago wants to do. You know, speaking of financing, there's been a lot of weird spending that's happened in St. Louis County lately. How'd you like that $90,000 new logo that evidently somebody else out in California already had a version of? There is a lot of crazy stuff that is going on in St. Louis County. And St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder is going to join us on the other side of the break. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today. Hope you are staying warm and you're not slip-sliding on the ice out there on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct. At Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. No one should be injured or be the victim of assault when using a rideshare service. These companies need to be held accountable.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
I know we're all busy. We're working, we're running errands, trying to take care of the kids. It's really easy to put things off. One thing you do not want to put off, though, your annual eye exam. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates not only gave me the most thorough eye exam I've ever had, but they're also experts in the diagnosis and treatment of all diseases of the eye. Everything from dry eye to macular degeneration and cataracts. Think about this. Your eye health is the window into your overall body health. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranja Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry, they can look at your eyes and even tell in some cases if you have early stage diabetes, heart disease, lung problems, even some forms of cancer. They're called the doctors' doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors. The best part about this is that most insurance plans cover the cost of your annual eye exam. Set up your appointment today, 314-966-5000. Again, 314-966-5000, or go to youridoc.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
What's happening now is happening here, and we're talking about it. On St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show.
So it's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey on this crazy little Monday. Hope you were doing well, staying warm, staying safe. We are lucky enough to be joined on this cold, icy day by St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder. Councilman, how are you, sir?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Good icy day for you, too.
I made it here, so I'm happy about that. We're actually going to talk to one of the district engineers from MoDOT in about an hour from right now to kind of get an update on what are the future plans that's going on, because I think we're supposed to get something later on this afternoon, but I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like overnight as we get into tomorrow. So were you able to get out from your house today, or are you lucky enough to be working from home today?
Well, there's a big traffic backup on the stairs going downstairs today. And so we had to clear that first. And once that was cleared, then it was free flowing the rest of the day.
Smooth sailing to the kitchen?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We got there.
Yeah.
No backups, and the floor was warm and dry.
I was telling Brad earlier today, my wife is a hairstylist, and she had a full book today, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then by about 8:15, she had lost pretty much everything, and her first appointment now was at 4. So when I left, she was still in the slippers, but she was nice enough to make me breakfast today. I was like, wow, that was pretty good. So I can appreciate that. Hey, you've got a lot of things that always seem to be happening in St. Louis County. And a lot of it tends to run around money issues. And now it seems like St. Louis County and Brentwood are going back and forth about who owes who some money. Am I understanding part of that correctly?
Yes, you are. And so what happened about a year ago, the city of Brentwood got a very large check in the mail for their sales tax. And normally how this works is the state, all the retailers send their sales tax into the state. The state separates it out by counties, sends it to the county, and the counties then divvy that money up by municipalities, depending on where that sales tax was generated. And so the city of Brentwood got a very large check, around $5 million, and that they normally don't get. And they looked at their books and said, where is this coming from? And the people in the administration over a year ago in St. Louis County were like dumbfounded, like, oh, well, we just sent it to you. And so there was this big kind of where'd this money come from? Then they finally said, yeah, we sent you too much. You need to send it back. And it went back and forth. And I believe Brentwood did their own audit to try to figure out where this is coming from. And they sent back a big chunk of it, but they're still sitting on about $1.2 million of the money because They don't have an accounting for it, and the county somehow doesn't have a good accounting for it. And so for over a year, Brentwood has been sitting on about $1.2 million or so of this money, not knowing, is it Brentwood's money or is it the county's money? And in light of our financial crisis we have in the county, I think it's very important and should be a top of mind and top priority for the county to figure out, did we give them too much, or is this their right amount they're supposed to get? And, we need the money as much as Brentwood does, but we need to find out who is responsible for this money and who's the rightful owner of this money.
Well, I guess the first thing that kind of comes to mind, and I saw you talking about this, is, first of all, how does St. Louis County get told that from Brentwood? How does St. Louis County not know that they did that? And part of the thing that I wonder is if nobody can really come to an accountant and say, well, it should have been this amount of money. If I was Brentwood, I think I'd have to say, well, thanks for the 1.2. We're going to do some street repairs going on in our city. And I'm guessing if they did that, would the county come back and sue them to try to get that money later, or what happens then?
Yeah, and Brentwood, I believe I've talked to the mayor, and the Brentwood has been very, very professional about this whole thing. They don't want to spend it for that fear that somehow if they spend it, and then it turns out to be the county's money, then they could be sued for it, and they don't want to do that. So all this is kind of sitting in limbo or escrow, and everybody's trying to wait. And I appreciate Brentwood being patient with this, but what I guess I'm most critical of is I own government in St. Louis County and why they can't figure this out. I mean, there's got to be a big enough calculator out there that you could punch in the numbers and figure out what they should get, or at least get very, very close to what they should get going forward and work it out. The Page administration is supposedly telling Brentwood that, we ordered some new software, and this new software will be able to tell us what the number should be. And I'm like, okay, well, that was a year ago. So why is this not being resolved, and why isn't this not in the top 5 priorities for the county to take care of financially? So very frustrating and very unprofessional.
I got right at a minute here. So where does this sit, and what's the next step that's going to happen?
Well, it's back with the Page administration to figure this out and to get out their abacuses or whatever they need to do and figure this out and decide who is the rightful owner of this about $1.2 million worth of tax money.
Well, once you find out about that, I'd love to have you back on and to figure that out. Mark Carter, St. Louis County Councilman, I appreciate the fact that you are always on this. You continue to fight this battle and try to keep St. Louis County in a good financial position and keep them responsible. So I think that's why it's good that you're running for the 15th Senate District. I wish you the very best in all of that.
Well, we've got to keep our eyes on everything, and citizens as well, not just elected officials. And we got to make sure that it's your tax money, and we got to make sure it's being spent properly and efficiently.
That's Mark Carter joining us today on the Annie Frey Show. My name is Mike Elam. We are going to talk to Steve Moore on the other side.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
The cost of education can be a burden. That's why Missouri's Most 529 program was created, to help folks save for their loved ones' education. Contributions to most 529 accounts grow tax-free and are eligible for a state tax deduction of up to $16,000. Families can save for K-12, college, trade, or technical schools. To learn more, go to MissouriMost.org or type Most 529 into your search engine.
Sponsored by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun. Always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
That a two-state solution is the best path forward for the people of Gaza, for the Palestinian people as well as the Israeli people.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, after Israel's prime minister over the weekend repeated opposition to a Palestinian state he says would pose a danger to Israel. Though Kirby says there are different interpretations of what a two-state solution could mean. Meantime, as the fighting continues in Gaza, so do attacks by Iran proxies on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. Now more than 150 since October. That's in addition to attacks on ships by Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. President Biden says he's mourning the deaths of 2 Navy SEALs lost at sea during a recent mission to seize Iranian weapons. The administration announcing new sanctions today, targeting Iran's funding for militia groups, including Hamas. The president's heading into a task force meeting designed to highlight his continued support for abortion rights on the 51st anniversary of the Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion.
The overturning of Roe v. Wade has led to the chaos and confusion we're seeing play out across the country.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says the president will keep urging Congress to restore protections as federal law. It's primary eve in New Hampshire, where the Republican race is down to Nikki Haley and former President Trump after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropped out.
Trump has a big lead, but when it comes to undeclared voters, and that is the biggest voting bloc here in New Hampshire, Haley has a 10-point lead with that group.
Fox Business's Madison Allworth with those results from a Monmouth University poll. Just getting word the younger son of Martin Luther King Jr. has died. Dexter Scott King was 62 and had battled prostate cancer. He was just 7 years old when his father was assassinated. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sloppy times continue going through the afternoon with a mix of rain and freezing rain. It's freezing on contact on a lot of surfaces, so still extra care out there. The good news, this is not a major icing event. Breezy and 36. Tonight, rain. Again, still some freezing rain mixing in. 32, periods of liquid rain on Tuesday, and 45. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Democracy 2024.
The New Hampshire primary is Tuesday. Nikki Haley is betting the house on it. Trump's still leading in the polls. We've got your full results coverage Tuesday night right here on 97.1 FM Talk starting at 6 p.m.
When it comes time to get your mortgage taken care of, if you're looking to buy a home, have you reached out to Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage? I want to encourage you to do that. I am a 2-time customer of Stewie and Stewart's American Mortgage and the bagel loan. And when I went to Stewie, I had him explain to me exactly how the bagel loan works. And the idea that you don't pay closing costs, that's legitimate. He doesn't roll those into the loan. You don't pay him later or something like that. They're not there. Stewie takes care of you. He makes sure that when you go to get your mortgage done with him, that you understand every detail, and he does have the best deal in the game. He does business directly with his clients. It is a small operation, but he works his tail off to make sure that your mortgage or your mortgage refinance with the bagel loan or without the bagel loan, depending on your scenario, is done perfectly each and every time. Reach out to Stewie for your bagel loan mortgage, your bagel loan refinance today, 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan as well, NMLS number 226715.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Seminars Tuesday, January 30th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights, and Wednesday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Weight Loss Seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Mark Cox here for Hampton Manor of Wentzville. It's a new senior living community with outstanding amenities, a personal chef, and a great location just off I-70 at Lake St. Louis. Schedule your visit today. Go online to wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today on a very cold, icy Monday. Called school, called work in a lot of places today. It was really bad if you were trying to get out early this morning. The roads are a whole lot better. We're going to talk with a MoDOT person a little bit later on this hour to kind of see about what does the future look like. But if you can get out of your neighborhood, you can probably get to wherever you want to go today. So be careful, slow down, like Dave Murray said. It's still bad out there, but it's not horrible. Hey, we are joined on the phone with Trump economic advisor Steve Moore, who joins the Annie Frey Show every Monday. Steve, how are you, sir?
Hey, good afternoon. Good. I mean, Trump had a good week last week, no question about it. It looks like after tomorrow, this whole race could be over for the Republican nomination. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I know the president is, and he's got all the momentum right now.
What do you think the odds are that Nikki Haley's going to call this thing tomorrow night? You think she's going to be done? I think she is done. It's just, is she going to call it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, she could still win New Hampshire. I mean, New Hampshire's tight right now. So she could pull off an upset there. You never know with New Hampshire voters. But I would say that, excuse me, I got to sneeze. It's cold here. It's cold
Bless
here
you.
in New York, too.
It's cold everywhere right now, I guess.
It is very cold. If she were to pull the upset, then, onward to South Carolina. And the problem that Nikki Haley has is she can't beat Trump in South Carolina. He's so popular in the southern states that he'll probably win that state by, 20 points. And if she can't win her own state, then she's in trouble. I mean, look, Trump is a strong candidate. He has his faults, but I loved his speech that he gave after the Iowa, his victory. He was magnanimous. He was, talking about the future, talking optimistically. And that's, I've always said, and I've told Annie this many times, there's a good Trump and a bad Trump, and the good Trump is really good, and the bad Trump is grousing and name calling and that kind of thing. And, I don't think that's what people want. They don't want to keep talking about the 2020 election. They want to know what Trump is going to do for us, over the next 4 years.
A lot of people have been talking about this sort of, and I hate to word it this way, so forgive me, but sort of a kinder, gentler Donald Trump. I mean, when he's been doing these interviews, when he was with Brett Baier and Martha McCallum the other day, they even talked about after the fact, he didn't call people names. He didn't make really derogatory remarks.
No, in fact, he was saying really nice things about Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, and that's what he should do. We have to bring, I'm a Republican, I'm a Trump guy. We have to bring the whole party together to defeat one of the worst presidents in American history. Now, there's a big question about whether. Let me put it like this: I think it's much, much more likely that Trump is the Republican nominee than that Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee.
Everybody keeps talking about that, and I'm curious to see what is it going to take to have the Democrats move on to somebody else. And I don't know what that's going to be. I mean, a lot of people have talked about the fact that if the economy improves between now and closer to election, that he may not need to move on. And you wrote an interesting article about the real story of the two Americas. I mean, we're really splitting out, aren't we?
We sure are. Well, first on that first point about whether Biden will be the nominee, if you had asked me 3 months ago, I would have said, no way. I mean, Biden is the second worst possible candidate the Democrats could choose. Of course, the worst would be Kamala. And so, but what's happened is the economy has gotten a little better. Biden's got a little bump in the polls. And in Trump, the fact that it's almost a fait accompli that Trump will be the nominee, the Democrats feel very confident that Biden can beat Trump. As a Trump guy, there's nobody else. I want a rematch. I want to put Biden's agenda and his, his quote accomplishments against those of Trump. I mean, and I think it's easy because it's like, are you better off than you were 4 years ago for most Americans?
It's very true.
No. And, you look at the border, you look at what's happening with crime, you look at how the massive increase in the national debt, you look at the fact that, our foreign policy is a mess. And those things are, first and foremost on Americans' minds. So, as I said, as a Trump guy, I hope that it is Biden, but they may change their mind. And look, I mean, let's face it, I'm not saying this to be mean, but Joe Biden, can anybody really imagine Joe Biden in the White House for 4 more years?
No.
I mean, that would be I don't know if he can make it through the next year.
I don't even think Democrats honestly believe, even if he gets reelected, that he's going to be there. I mean, I think everybody seems to be at that point where they go, look, we watched the guy walk and just looking at his gait, Brad
Yeah.
had a
when you got a guy who's shaking hands with invisible people, you got a problem.
Well, Brad had a great challenge that he wants to put out to all the presidential campaigns that said, sit on the ground and get up on your own. If you can sit on the ground and get up on your own, then you can still run. But if you can't, you're out.
Say, I'm getting a little older myself, so that's not such.
I know. I'm like, that's a challenge by a young guy that you just put out there. I said, every day I get a little bit older, and with 4 knee surgeries, it gets tougher to get up, especially when it's cold.
So on that issue that you brought up about, we have this new study at the Committee to Unleash Prosperity on what we call us versus them. And, the very quick version of this is we did a poll of 1,500 elites. These are people who graduated from Ivy League schools, have graduate degrees, are, in the top 2 or 3% of income, live in urban areas, and, basically are kind of in that culturally elite group, an overeducated group. And what we found in the survey was that their attitude about what's happening in America is so radically different than ordinary Main Street working class Americans. It's almost like they're living in 2 different countries. So, as an example, we asked these elites, do you think that we should ban things like gas stoves and air conditioners and gas cars? Well, the vast majority of normal Americans say, hell no, we shouldn't ban those things.
That's crazy.
These people, 2 out of 3 of them are in favor of that. Another one, who should be in charge of the schools? Should it be the parents who send their kids to the public schools, or should it be the teachers unions and the bureaucracy? And the vast majority of normal Americans say, yeah, the parents should be setting the curriculum and so on, but they believe that it should be the unions. Are you better off than you were, with Trump? For 70% of Americans, they say no, but for these elites, 80% say yes. I could go on. Here's one: banning non-essential air travel. The left wants to do this because we can't have any more carbon emissions, right? And
right.
Going to save the planet,
unless you're John Kerry.
Exactly. And so, most normal Americans say, well, I want to take my kids to Disney World, and we're not going to drive from Nebraska to Orlando. So, but that would be banned under this proposal. 65% of these, Harvard and Yale and Princeton graduates say, yes, we should do that. So they're completely out of touch with what's happening in America. And I think it explains, A, why Trump is so popular with so many Americans, but B, why it is that the elite Americans don't really understand when they say, gee, everything's going so well in America, why are people angry? Well, it is for them, but it's not for, most people.
The biggest thing that came out of that, we're talking with Steve Moore, a distinguished fellow in economics with Heritage. The biggest thing that jumped out to me is because I'm a regular guy who says economy is everything. When they said that nearly 3/4 of them are better off under Biden than they were under Trump, my first question was, how? How are you better off under Biden? Like, the stock market hasn't gone up from when he came in to where you are now, to where you would have made that much more. How are you better off?
Yeah, it's a good one. And the other one we did is like, how much would you be willing to pay each year to try to combat climate change? For most Americans, $50, $60 a year. For these elites, they're like thousands of dollars, whatever it takes. So it shows that they're, what are Americans concerned about? Inflation, putting food on the table, making sure that we have a secure border and those kinds of things. For the elites, it's things like climate change and LGBTQ issues that just really don't register with most Americans. So it does explain these 2 Americas today and how displaced from the reality of real world America these elites are.
It makes me wonder, why isn't crime and illegal immigration, something like that, on their radar? But according to your report, it doesn't seem to be on their radar at all.
Yeah. By the way, you can tell I'm in New York, right?
Yeah.
Again, the people there, it's almost like they're living in a bubble.
Right.
These are people who live in Washington, D.C., they live in New York, they work on Wall Street, they work in Silicon Valley, and it's a separate universe. And so I think that's a really important about how our country, look, we have to unify our country, no question, but it's hard to unify with somebody who says they want to take your gas stove away from you, your air travel away from you. They want to have, they want to make the decisions for you. And the truth is, these elites tend to be people who hold middle America in contempt.
They really do. It's amazing the disdain that they seem to have for middle-class America. If you're a hardworking person who gets up, you do what you're supposed to, you follow the rules, you just try to make a better living for you and your family. For some reason, that's offensive to them.
It's a weird thing, and it's not a healthy thing. And it's really, by the way, 80% of these people in this, in this category are, guess who they're going to vote for? Biden's.
Right. So I want to ask you this real quick, because I hear you on Fox Business on a regular basis, going back and forth, and
I'll be on tonight, by the way, at 4:15 with Larry Kudlow.
Oh, very good.
Eastern. So
well, I'm sure you guys are probably going to talk a little bit about this, because I used to hear that the prevailing wisdom was we were going to have 6 rate cuts in 2024, and they were supposed to start by March. And then I'm hearing, no, there's only going to be 2 or 3, and it's going to wait until July. Where do you think we're going to come down on rate cuts? Or do you think we're even going to have them in 2024?
Yeah, I do think we will. I think that the Fed, really has, first of all, they let the inflation rate go up to 9.1%, which was tragic, and that was mostly because of the Biden spending spree. Now it's come down to about 4%. I think they'll probably do 1 or 2 rate cuts, and whether they do more than that, it's hard to say. It really depends on what happens. It's hard to predict. Are we going to see a resurgence of inflation? Is it just a temporary thing that I was going to use the word transitory, but I think the left has perverted that term. So we'll see. But look, the economy is better now, but God, we're borrowing $2 trillion a year. We've got still people paying 20% more for groceries, 30% more for gasoline at the pump. They're paying, 50% more for their mortgages. So people are not feeling the love for Bidenomics. Let's put it like that.
You are a guy who points out on a regular basis, and I really appreciate you for doing this. When people start talking about, well, inflation's down to 3.7, 3.6, whatever that number is, and they talk about how great that is, you bring up the fact of, hey, don't forget, we had 9.1.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We had 9.1% inflation that got there. This 3.6, 3.7, it's not down to that. It's on top of that. That never went away.
Yeah, and even Biden misspeaks, what was shocking, when he says stuff like, prices are falling. No, prices aren't falling. The rate of increase is falling. Yeah. But, virtually everything you buy today is 18, 19, 20% more expensive. And therein lies a big problem because people hate inflation. Most Americans, their incomes have not risen by that much, so they're having to go more into debt. And look, I hope the economy gets better. I'd love to see it. I never root against America, and we've got great companies and great workers and great people. But we don't have great leadership right now in Washington.
We really don't. But we appreciate you being on the team and informing President Trump. And I agree with you. I think this thing's done. And I think it's time for us to move on. We've got our nominee. We just need a couple other folks to get on board with that. Brad and I were joking about the fact of, hey, wait, Asa Hutchinson is still in the race. And I don't think anyone cared in the beginning, and I know they don't care now.
He's what you call a dark horse.
He is. It's a real dark horse that's out there. Well, Steve, we appreciate you taking some time on this Monday, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Bye.
That is Steve Moore, Distinguished Fellow in Economics with the Heritage Foundation. He's just a super smart guy.
Yeah.
I always enjoy listening to him. He's on a regular basis. He's on with Stuart Varney, and he talks with him about stuff. And him and Kudlow, when they get together, they have some really high-level discussions, and having a communications degree, not an economics degree.
Yeah.
I appreciate people who can break things down and really make it easy to understand.
Yeah.
This article that he was talking about, that's the us versus them, Scott Rasmussen did all the research for that. And I like Rasmussen Research. They do a very good, thorough job of really giving you a complete picture. They don't cherry pick their stuff. So I really like that they do that. So you can find that. You can listen to him on Kudlow, or he'll be back next Monday on the Annie Frey Show. Annie will be back here tomorrow. But today, our YouTube Live chat poll is, who do you support for the Republican nomination? Are you a Nikki Haley? Are you Donald Trump? Or are you going off the board? And I'm voting third party. The third party list may continue to grow. Some of the folks in our chat were talking about the fact they think maybe Nikki Haley may go third party. I don't think she's going to do that, but it's always fun to throw those things out there. Hey, have you paid attention to what's going on with Planned Parenthood? You may not, but you should. We're going to talk with Cody Smith. He is the Missouri State Representative. He is the House Budget Chair. As a matter of fact, he's the longest-serving House Budget Chair in the Missouri House since they put term limits together. And he is running for treasurer for the state of Missouri. He is heavily involved in this issue, and we're going to catch up with Cody Smith on the other side. It's the Annie Frey Show. My name is Mike Elam, sitting in for Annie today on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
My baby just can't take her eyes off me.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Don't you blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the good times.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Frey, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Do you worry about losing your nest egg with the volatility of the stock market? Would you like to know why linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than most investment options? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. I depend on them for eye care, and they have an announcement. They're pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to their practice. Dr. Berry is a cornea surgeon, and he has the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care and treatment in the field. So what do we call them now? The Doctors? No, just the best doctors to see for your best vision. In St. Louis, you can reach them at 314-966-5000. They've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any others in the practice. Now, if you need help with dry eye, LASIK surgery, maybe you have glaucoma, macular degeneration. I had an eye disease when I was just 25 years old, so my eyes are very important to me. You get the absolute best care with the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Bersati, Andy Royer, and now Dr. Samuel Berry. 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com. They have a great location just off Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Ophthalmology Associates.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
A stunning new price tag for Metrolink expansion in St. Louis. David Stokes from the Show Me Institute will highlight the ridiculousness Monday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
So Carry On Wayward Son may be one of my all-time favorite songs ever, and definitely my favorite Kansas song. And I really like Kansas, but I feel bad, as you just pointed out. We're playing Kansas as we bring on a Missouri state representative. So that was probably not great, but that is a great song. State Representative Cody Smith is joining us. Representative, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mike. I'm doing well. Glad to be with you. How are you today?
I'm good. Did you make it up to the Capitol today, or are you still down in southwest Missouri?
I'm still down here in Carthage. I woke up and we were under a layer of ice, I think like much of the state, but I'm looking for a window to get up there either later today or in the morning.
I reached out to my friend Wendy Hausman that we know, and I said, hey, are you guys in session today? And she said, no, I'm stuck here. I guess you guys had your technical sessions today, but you're going to try and do it again tomorrow and get things rolling, right?
We did, yeah. So not a lot of official business going on up there. I'm sure there were some hearings that have had to be rescheduled, but we should start in earnest tomorrow, hopefully, weather permitting.
This is Missouri State Representative Cody Smith. He is number 163. I know you're not 163 out of 163, but that is your district, and that's how many that we have. He is also a candidate for state treasurer, but today we're talking about an issue that is more near and dear to your heart, I think, and I think you're a guy who has a passion for that, and that's why we're talking about it. But there's Planned Parenthood was caught admitting that they are doing secret abortions on teens. And Project Veritas has unveiled this. How did you find out about this particular story?
Well, I did. I found out from Project Veritas's Twitter account or X account, whatever we're calling it these days.
Right.
Like a lot of your listeners, that came out late last year, right before Christmas. And there are some very disturbing implications of that video footage if it is within the context that we receive it as viewers. It's essentially indicating that they are in the business of helping underage minor children travel outside of the state and receive abortions in Kansas facilities, and doing that without parental knowledge or consent. And so we have been fighting, Mike, in Jefferson City to defund Planned Parenthood, and by that I mean do no business with them as a state through our Medicaid program for years. And we had handled it through budget language in years past, and that's gone through the courts and been rejected, and we've tried a couple different ways. And I think at this point it's clear that we need to address this in state statute and defund Planned Parenthood once and for all.
What are the big hurdles that you're running into that's keeping you from being able to do that?
Well, as I said before, we had handled it in the budget. This has been an issue that we've been aware of for a long time. We have now effectively ended abortion in Missouri, but we are still doing business with some of those provider types like Planned Parenthood through our state's Medicaid program. And there's a federal law that says that any willing provider can participate in our Medicaid program like all other states, but we know that when we are doing business with them for services that are not abortion specifically, we are ultimately subsidizing those organizations. And when we are working with those organizations or subsidizing those organizations through taxpayer-funded programs, they can take those resources and turn around and do things like what we are seeing here to subvert the will of the General Assembly, to subvert the will of the taxpayer, and ultimately subsidize those activities that we do not want to subsidize them with. So again, we started with prohibitive budget language, and that worked for a couple of years. Went to the courts, and the courts ultimately reject that. The Missouri Supreme Court said you cannot write this type of prohibitive language in the state budget. We then turned around and took a different tact and showed a $0 appropriation for these types of providers in the state budget. But ultimately, it's become, like I say, more clear that we need to address this in state law. And so I will be filing legislation this week to do just that and hopefully put an end to this once and for all.
You know, I appreciate you sharing this story with me because I hadn't seen the story that came out on the 10th that was there. But just talking about the fact that this is an organization, it's one thing that you're providing abortion services in a state, but you're actually trafficking pregnant teens to neighboring states, and you're not letting their parents know about it. I saw there was a line that said, the lady from Planned Parenthood said, we mostly see Texas and Oklahoma patients in Kansas, but they said if you want to go further, they'll take you to Illinois, they'll take you to Colorado. I think the latest one is Washington, D.C. We do help people get to these places. I mean, they're using taxpayer-funded dollars to fund abortions in other states, and they're not telling the parents about it. I mean, there's so many things about that are just so wrong, and I find it hard that there are people out there that are going to continue to stand up for Planned Parenthood and say, yeah, but they do all this other stuff. But to your point, if you fund one thing, they're just going to move the shell game around, and they're going to put money into these services, and we can't have our kids sneaking off in the middle of the night to other states to get abortions.
That's right, Mike. It's deeply disturbing that they would engage in these types of activities, especially subverting parents and their involvement with this. Obviously, minor children aren't equipped to make those types of choices themselves, and so to go in around their parents and to do that with ultimately taxpayer dollars is just abhorrent. And so, again, we've been aware of this problem for a while. We've been working to try to find it, to try to fight it, and this has really brought it to a head. This is, as you mentioned, when we know that money is fungible, so when we are paying them for other services, they can take that money, turn around, and support the things that we don't want to be paying them for. And it's clear now that they are working as a national network where these affiliates, these providers that they work with are helping share resources to transport children around the country to circumvent state laws, whereas in Missouri, like I say, we've effectively ended abortion. And so it seems that they are willingly and actively subverting state law by transporting minor children out of the state to receive these procedures. And again, the real kicker is without parental involvement or knowledge, awareness, or consent. And I have to imagine they're breaking laws in that process. And I would hope that some of the local authorities there are performing investigations as we speak, and if not at the state level, we need to start talking about are there laws on the books that would prohibit this? I'm sure there are, and where are the investigations to kind of get to the bottom of what laws are being broken already? But again, in the long term, Mike, I think the play here is that the ultimate goal is to just not do any business with these types of providers whatsoever as a state. We don't need any taxpayer dollars going towards these organizations because we know what they're going to ultimately do with them, and we want out of that business. We want nothing to do with it, and the taxpayer wants nothing to do with it.
We were talking with Missouri State Representative Cody Smith. So you said you're going to be filing that legislation this week, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we've been in the works here for the first couple of weeks of the session, fine-tuning it, getting the details together. I expect I'll be filing that legislation this week, and hopefully we'll start to see it moving on the House side very quickly.
So typically when you file legislation like this, what's the process that it has to go through to be able to really get the groundswell that you need to get the votes that you need to get?
I will file the bill, and then the Speaker of the House, it will go to his possession, and he will ultimately refer it out to one of his committees. And then, just like any other piece of legislation, we will have a public hearing on that legislation, and the committee will hopefully vote it out to where it will be placed on the House perfection calendar. And that's where we go to the floor and we debate the bill and we kind of finalize the version. We call that the perfection process, and then we'll be up again for a second vote, which we call the third read vote. And then we will send it to the Senate, and hopefully they can pick it up and pass it and get it to the governor's desk. And so it becomes critical from the point of the bill referral to leading into the committee hearing that advocates, pro-life advocates across the state and grassroots folks across the state that are interested in us solving this issue get involved, and they get engaged, and they come to Jefferson City and they testify on the legislation, or at the very least they reach out to their local legislators in support of the bill. And so my ask to that community would be, help us get this passed, help us create awareness around the problem and the proposed solution. And again, that begins really in earnest at the committee level, which we would see coming up here in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Do you have a companion over in the Senate that's going to be handling this bill and trying to go from that side?
I don't have a particular sponsor picked out or have engaged anyone in particular on the Senate side. I do know that Senator Schroer has filed some comparable legislation, and he's worked on this issue for a while. Potentially he might be someone that could handle that. Also, Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman has been a pro-life champion, worked very, very hard on the heartbeat bill along with Senator Schroer when they were both in the House. So there are multiple good options there as Senate sponsors, but we need to get them a bill so they can take it up and pass it right away.
Obviously, you have a big week ahead of you. Is there anything else that you have? Obviously, you're working on budget all the time as a House budget chair. Any other big things that you're going to try to get done on what's going to turn out to be an abbreviated week in the House?
Yeah, well, we've been hampered by the weather for a couple weeks now, but we are certainly working hard. I've been on the phone with staff most of the morning, working remotely. So, one thing that did come out of the pandemic was that we learned how to work on these things remotely, which has been helpful during this winter weather. But the next big thing in the budget process is the governor's State of the State address, which is this Wednesday. And that's where he will unveil his governor's recommendations and talk about his vision for the next year's budget. So I will begin then to unpack those recommendations and take the work that we've accomplished to date and start to make decisions about what will go into the House version of the budget. And that really does come into focus a little bit better after the governor's State of the State address. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that on Wednesday.
Well, hopefully I cross paths with you. I'm planning on being there Wednesday for the State of the State. So hopefully I can stop by your office and say hi along the way. But you sound like You've got a very full plate, and we appreciate you making some time on this rainy, chilly Monday to spend some time with us.
Happy to be here, Mike, and you're always welcome in my office. I've been told I have the best coffee in the Capitol. So please stop by. I've always got some on and would love to see you.
I look forward to it. Representative Cody Smith, we appreciate the time today, and thanks for your fight.
Thank you, Mike.
That is Cody Smith. He is our budget chair. He is District 163. He is also running for a candidate for Missouri State Treasurer. He's got a lot that he is getting done right there. Hey, there is a lot that's been going on the area roads, and Bob Becker is going to join us. He's the district maintenance engineer for MoDOT. Talk a little bit about what can we expect for this weather for the rest of this, and how is this going to affect your commute for later on this afternoon, or luckily you're probably at home, but definitely for tomorrow. We'll do that on the Annie Frey Show. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct. At Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 0% financing for 36 months on attic insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Fact-checking the fact-checkers daily. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Well, I hope you're enjoying a warm spot inside your home or wherever you may be, sheltered away from the weather. But if you woke up this morning and you went, wow, that's an awful lot of ice. As I looked out at the road in front of my house, and especially as I looked out at that driveway, I went, this is going to be tough to get out and about today. MoDOT has done a fantastic job, though, of treating the main roads. Like when we got out and about, Brad found it in Illinois, I found it in Missouri. When we were driving downtown, the main roads were fantastic. And hats off to IDOT, hats off to MoDOT for getting that done. Bob Becker is joining us on the phone. He is a district maintenance engineer for MoDOT. Bob, I appreciate you taking some time. I know you've got to be really, really busy today, but I'll start off by saying, well done, sir, on tackling all this.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, everything went really well today, and our guys did a great job. We got out ahead of this and had a treatment out there, and then a bunch of it washed away as the rain came in. We put another treatment down to keep the ice away, and the roads were just wet most of the morning.
So what are you guys expecting as we go forward? What's your expectation for the afternoon and the evening?
Well, temperatures are coming up, and we're supposed to stay above freezing overnight, so we should be in good shape. Everything should just be wet overnight even.
So we're not expecting this stuff to freeze, and we're expecting the roads to be pretty good for the morning commute?
Yes, they should be just wet. We've been checking. We talk with the National Weather Service on a regular basis, and we've got a good treatment down. But of course, if it keeps raining, that's going to wash off. But we're confident that it's going to stay above freezing all night.
So when did you guys first start the treatment process? Because obviously the main roads, you were well ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean, we had some residue from the storm late last week on the road still, and we had our crews coming in. We had some of them come in at 7 o'clock at night to make sure everything's ready to go, and then by 10:30 we had full crews in, and we wanted to make sure we got treatment ahead of it because it came in at like 1 to 2 this morning.
Yeah. Did it come in the way that you expected, or did you see any surprises?
Fortunately, there were no surprises with this storm. I mean, it came in and just drizzle and a little bit of rain, and then, like I said, we kept an eye on things, and as that treatment we put down got diluted and washed off, we put more down, and we just continued that all night.
Well, it sounds like you guys have got a good handle on it. We appreciate you. We appreciate your guys who have been out there driving the trucks and spreading the treatment and making sure that our roads are safe. You expect to have most of the side roads cleared off later on today, I assume.
Right. We've got off our main lines now and made sure we're getting a good treatment on the side roads, so everything's done there. And, I mean, a big part of our success this morning was also that everybody stayed home. I mean, traffic was incredibly light this morning, which helps us get around, and there's fewer accidents. And when there's an accident, we can't get around. So it made things go much better and made us more successful.
Well, that is Bob Becker. He is a district maintenance engineer for MoDOT. Bob, we appreciate you taking a few minutes away from what's been a very busy day, but thanks for joining us here on 97.1.
No problem. Thank you.
That is Bob Becker. You know, those guys have a really tough job, and I don't know about you, because you came in a couple hours before me.
Yeah.
And when I came in this morning, it was like driving home at midnight. Like there was nobody on the road.
There was definitely not a lot. Like I would hit pockets of traffic. And when I say pockets of traffic, it's like pockets of weekend traffic. It's not like the roads were crowded or anything like that. But for the most part, find a lane and go, and you were fine.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed whenever I was driving in is you could actually see the ice. Usually, they say it's black ice, and you don't see it. Next thing you know, you go over it. But like where stuff was iced over, it was very shiny. It looked like there was a sheet of ice over it. So I was driving in. I come in on 64 in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Yes.
So you could see like the Best Buy parking lot and stuff like that as you're going in, and those were just glazed over. I was like, man, be careful in those parking lots. My side streets were like that as well.
Yes.
I drive slow, get out of the side streets, but as soon as I turned left onto one of the bigger roads in O'Fallon, it was slushy. I mean, the salt was doing the thing, and then I was able to drive, make sure I'm not spinning in or anything like that, and away I went and made it in fine.
I had the same experience when I came in on 4064, and when I was driving in today from St. Charles County, God's country as we call it, everything was
moving up in life.
There you go. I mean, it really was. I was so surprised, and I expect that Bob and his guys were very appreciative that school got called. A lot of people called work today, and it's like Cody Smith was talking about. One of the positives from the pandemic was we figured out how to do some remote work. So you can do Zoom calls, Teams calls, whatever those calls that you do with your particular company. But you can do those now, and you can get a lot of stuff done. I'm sure that's not great news for the commercial real estate folks. They're probably like, no, you need to come into an office. But when I came in this morning, the road was wide open. I actually saw 4 MoDOT trucks who looked like they really didn't have anything to clean. They were going down the highway in front of me, but there really wasn't much for them to get off the roads. Even the slush at that point had really kind of cleaned off. So it sounds like from what Bob is saying and talking with the National Weather Service, they're not expecting a whole lot of bad weather coming up, and it seems like we're pretty well done from that part. So that is good. New Hampshire primary is going on tomorrow, so that's why we have our YouTube live chat poll that we would love to hear from you. Who do you support for the Republican nominee? Is it Nikki Haley? Is it Donald Trump? Or is it I'm voting third party? Or or as I call him, Asa Hutchinson.
Asa Hutchinson.
Asa Hutchinson.
Man, there's good. Go ahead.
From Arkansas, so I appreciate the fact that he's trying to be Bill Clinton, but dude, you're not even Mike Huckabee.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there are actually quite a few third-party candidates going to be in this race for sure.
I didn't realize how many there were until they started talking about the New Hampshire ballot, and I'm seeing about all these different people, and I'm thinking, wait, who? Where did they come from? But I think there are 3 or 4 candidates that are on the Democratic ballot in New Hampshire. And they were talking about the fact of how Joe Biden basically flipped his nose or flipped him the bird for New Hampshire.
At New Hampshire, yeah. Joe Biden told the Democrat Party, I want South Carolina to be the first vote.
First primary state. Yeah.
And people in New Hampshire are like, no.
It's in their state constitution.
Yeah.
New Hampshire can't even bypass it. I mean, they would be against their own state constitution if they were not the first primary.
So Joe Biden is not on the ballot in New Hampshire.
No, but have you seen all the signs?
Yeah, it's a write-in Biden.
Write-in Biden. We're writing in Biden. Everybody make sure you put Joe's name in here because Joe didn't want to be on the ballot, but now we don't want him to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know how New Hampshire became Southern,
campaign.
but that's how that worked out.
I mean, it's possible Biden loses his first primary because he's just not on the ballot and people don't write him in because they're like, hey, we're not for your game.
When I've been watching a lot of the coverage, now granted, I'm watching Fox News. I'm not watching a lot of MSNBC because there's only so much of that I can take. But as I've been watching that and talking to the people of New Hampshire, they're pissed. I mean, they really are. They're mad about the fact that they have to put together a write-in campaign to not make Joe Biden look embarrassed. Because I think Joe Biden really thought, and I think the DNC really thought, when they said, nope, the first primary is going to be South Carolina. And when New Hampshire said, no, it's going to be us. It's in our state constitution that we have to be. So we are going to be the very first primary. And the people there were really mad that he put them in that position. So I've seen them out there with their write-in stuff that says, write in Biden. And a lot of the people there have kind of been like, screw him. This is what he did this to himself. This is an unforced error. So because it's an unforced error, we're going to let you feel the consequences of it.
So what Biden told New Hampshire voters basically is your vote to me is not important.
Right. I don't care what you say.
I need a more important state to be the first state.
Right. Well, no, he said it even worse. I need a state that is not so white to be the state that votes for me.
He's doing so well.
That's exactly what he did.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, because if it wasn't for South Carolina, he would not be president today. So this is his way of rewarding South Carolina because that was the first state, because you had Iowa, you had New Hampshire, primarily white states. Their demographic in both of those states are primarily white people. New Hampshire, even more than Iowa, which is saying something.
How dare they?
How dare they?
The audacity of those states.
But then you get down to a minority population that you have, and a black population of South Carolina actually put him over the top and gave him the nomination in 2020. So this is his way of saying, I'm going to come back to you, and I am going to reward you, basically. And I guess he just wasn't thinking about the fact of, hey, I'm rewarding one, but I'm basically flipping off the other and telling you I don't really care what you have to say, and we're going to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the folks of New Hampshire do tomorrow night for two things. A, I think Donald Trump's going to win this thing. I don't think it's even close. I'm just curious what that margin of victory is going to be, and if darling Nikki has an opportunity and has a leg to stay on from coming out of that. But I really want to see from the Democrat side, does Joe Biden lose? Because that is going to be funny.
Listen to Trump talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll talk a little bit more about that on the other side. It's the Annie Frey Show. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. More than 11 years ago, we set out to help women right here in St. Louis. Today, Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Our work at Coalition Life continues, and we need your support more than ever in a post-Roe v. Wade world. Whether you join us as a volunteer, an employee, or a donor, know that you have a special impact to make for these precious children. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's a healthcare crisis. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's how Vice President Kamala Harris describes abortion bans in multiple states since Roe v. Wade was overturned, warning that opponents will push for a federal ban.
What they need to know is that if Congress passes a national abortion ban, President Joe Biden will veto it.
Harris in Wisconsin kicking off a Fight for Reproductive Freedoms tour on the 51st anniversary of the Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion. A campaign event on the issue tomorrow will be the first joint rally of 2024 for Harris and the president. A crowded field of Republican challengers now down to just former President Trump and Nikki Haley ahead of tomorrow's New Hampshire primary after Ron DeSantis dropped out and endorsed Trump.
Trump telling Fox and Friends.
A lot of the things that he wanted, I wanted. And I think, in fact, I noticed people commentary this saying, well, all of those people that would be for him would be for Trump.
And while the latest Monmouth Washington Post poll shows Haley picking up more independent support, it's not enough at this point if polls are correct to overcome Trump's double-digit lead.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. There won't be any delegates awarded for Democrats in New Hampshire after the party changed its calendar to make South Carolina first. It's the first day of the spring semester at California State Universities, but a strike is disrupting class for more than 400,000 students.
We have shut down 23 campuses, including here at Cal State Long Beach. That is almost 30,000 faculty who are on the picket line
Professor Lily House-Peters is workers, also including librarians and coaches, seek higher pay, a more manageable workload, and better parental leave in a strike planned to last all week. Cal State officials had offered a 5% raise this year, less than half what the union wants. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sloppy times continue going through the afternoon with a mix of rain and freezing rain. It's freezing on contact on a lot of surfaces, so still extra care out there. The good news, this is not a major icing event. Breezy and 36. Tonight, rain. Again, still some freezing rain mixing in. 32, periods of liquid rain on Tuesday, and 45. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code SMELLBETTER and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code SMELLBETTER. LumeDeodorant.com, code SMELLBETTER for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code SMELLBETTER.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun. Always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Big ideas, real debate, solid entertainment. It's all here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me
ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is anchor man, not anchor lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk. I was just getting ready to pick up my headphones, and I pulled the headphones out of the jack just about the time the music was going.
Oh, no.
down. And I'm like, oh, I should probably plug that back in. As if I don't know what I sound like, right? So I think after 57 years, I
got to know that
out.
you're making a sound.
I do. I just wanted to make sure that I can hear something because we're probably going to play some sound.
Yeah,
so that would be good.
Inside baseball for those of you that have never been in a studio. These studios, like my first day walking into a studio, when the door behind me, I don't know if you can see it on the stream or not, but when the door behind me closes, it is quiet. You could hear a mouse walk across the carpet.
You really can.
And it's like unsettling quiet. But that means that there's no sound coming from what it's like. I can't hear what's going out on the air unless I have my headphones on.
Right. It was really funny that day that you guys had that thing with Hannah where Hannah didn't have her headphones on, and she walks in here and they're playing all these drops about Hannah doesn't have her headphones on, na. And they were making fun of Hannah the whole time, which was very funny because if you haven't been to a professional radio studio, and I do throw in that caveat, a professional, because I've worked for some that were not, because I grew up in a very small town and I worked for that radio station. But you'll have these big, thick doors, and they have magnets around the edges of the door. So when you push it, it seals.
This door's like that.
And it's a heavy door, and you've really got to push it or pull it to get it open. So it's not easy to make that happen. And then a lot of times in studios, you build a room inside of a room, and there is just nothing. Like, it's just dead, which is what you want, right? You don't want to hear the sirens, because we are in downtown St. Louis. Yeah. So we were just playing the game this morning of alive or asleep, or dead or asleep this morning. A guy who's laying in, well, we assume it's a guy. I shouldn't say that.
We call it a game, but it's kind of really sad when you sit here and think about it.
It is sad. It's just one of those things of, so there's a person laying on the ground with covers over them, and it's like, wait, how long have they been there? Yeah. And are they with us or are they not with us anymore? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wow, welcome to downtown St. Louis. That's where we're at. Did you find that Hannah thing?
Was I supposed to look that up?
I thought that's what you were looking at. You were probably talking with Scooter or somebody, and Scooter, we're not going to have more Democrats on, especially not when I'm on. It's pretty much how it's going to be, and I'm sorry. That's just the Mike Elam. No, I have a lot of Republican friends, and I'm going to put Republican friends on the radio, and that's what we'll talk about.
Hannah's not wearing headphones, so she can't hear this right now.
And you guys just kept going on and on and on, and she had no idea that the conversation was happening. And you guys were cracking up, and you were in the middle. I think it was Wiggins America at the time that you were doing, and Ryan was talking about all this stuff.
She would come in, and she had this habit of leaving her headphones outside of the studio, and she wouldn't put them on. So you guys all heard that on air, but if you're in the studio and you don't have headphones on, you don't hear that.
You don't hear that.
Nothing plays in the studio that makes that noise. And so we were just having a little fun, and she could tell something was up, and then she goes out and
she listened to the stream.
And then she was like, "Guys!" But she was a good sport about it. She thought it was funny. But guess what? She never forgot again.
Her headphones. She always had her headphones. I wonder if she brings her headphones every morning on Wine Natty.
I am certain.
I bet she does.
She's doing a great job.
I bet she does that. So, Hannah, we miss you. You're sorry you're not here. By the way, Annie will be back tomorrow.
Yep.
We assume that she's going to make it back in town. Weather permitting. It's same things. Wiggins will be back tomorrow. Weather permitting. Leah will be back tomorrow. Weather permitting. Mm-hmm. So we will hopefully have the full regular Annie Frey show back for the first time since
Brad
Thursday.
will be back, weather be darned.
Or Wednesday, sorry. Yeah, Brad's here anyway. Some people are hardcore.
Somebody's got to run the board.
Yeah, thank God, because I wasn't going to be pushing those buttons today. That would be really bad. Brad's been doing, like, I would say double duty, but I call it triple duty today. He's running the board. He's producing the show. He's doing all the stream stuff. He's interacting with everybody on the live stream. By the way, if you are on the stream, our YouTube live chat poll of the day is, who do you support for the Republican nominee? Are you going to be a Nikki Haley person? Are you a Donald Trump person? Or are you, I'm voting third party? Where are you coming down on that? And we will talk about that a little bit later on as to where we are. What's funny is, so with the Odyssey radio group here in St. Louis, there's 6 radio stations in this building.
I'm counting in my head right now.
I think there's 6.
Yeah.
There may be 7 that are in this building. So you never know when, in between breaks, when you go to get something to drink or you go to the restroom or whatever. So I ran into some folks from down the hall at another radio station milling around in the kitchen, and they were like, "What are you talking about today?" I said, "You finally talk about the fact that DeSantis got out of the race." And I'm like, you say that with such glee. Like, I'm not really happy that DeSantis is out of the race. I actually liked DeSantis. So I'm a little disheartened by that. So I was talking about the fact that, I'm already talking about the fact that Nikki Haley is out of this race. She just hasn't officially dropped out yet. It's like Keith Richards is dead. He just doesn't know it yet. That happened years and years ago. He just keeps hanging on. But they were actually excited about Nikki Haley as a candidate. And I'm like, why are you excited about Nikki Haley as a candidate? I mean, I don't dislike Nikki Haley, but I'm like, what is it about her candidacy that has you all excited? And they were talking about the fact of she should have gone after Donald Trump so much earlier. And I thought, I kind of said that through the whole primary process, because it felt like Donald Trump was untouchable by the other people who wanted to be the presidential nominee for the Republican side. For whatever reason, they all got together and did these debates. And they did debate after debate after debate that Donald Trump never attended. And he told you, I'm not coming. I mean, he basically said, you guys aren't at my level, and I'm not going to put you at my level.
That's what he said. But there's a aspect of that I would like to point out, and Annie has pointed this out several times. Until Chris Christie got out,
right,
Donald Trump would have been on stage with a seasoned prosecutor, and Donald Trump is in court for a lot of things.
Right.
And he would have been putting himself at major risk of giving up evidence that could have been used against him and stuff like that, or looking weak in the face of Chris Christie.
I don't blame Donald Trump for not doing the debates. I wouldn't have done it either. I mean, I think he had the right, and I think it's played out that way, so it's easy for me to look back and say that. But I think he was right in not doing the debate for his numbers. I don't think he needed it. They did. The thing that drove me crazy for all of them is, why are you going to all get on stage together? And at one point, I think they had like 8 of them on stage. If you're all going to get on stage, there's one guy who's kicking your butt. One.
And he's not there to defend himself.
And you won't go after him. They kept going after each other. And I'm thinking, do you not understand how this works, right? There's going to be one. It's like the Highlander. At the end, there can only be one. So you didn't go after Trump. You went after each other. And you beat the crap out of each other. But he had, like, the name that cannot be mentioned. And people didn't go after him. And it's one of those kind of things where you have to ask them, do you understand how this works? Like, you do know this is not a race for second place. It's supposed to be a race for the nominee, but you're all running like it's a race for second place.
Well, yeah, and maybe they were. Maybe the plan for anybody was, they looked at this, they said, there's nobody that's going to be able to top Donald Trump. They're just not going to be able to get in front of him. We're not going to be able to catch him. So the plan is to be the next batter up should something happen with Trump, like an indictment or
a conviction.
A conviction.
It would have to be a conviction.
Something like that might remove him from the prime spot.
Right. But they never seem to be able to set themselves apart from it. And it was kind of like, do you want Donald Trump or do you want Donald Trump light? I mean, that's through this whole process, that's been what it is. You know what you have in Donald Trump. You may like him, you may hate him, you may be lukewarm. I don't know hardly anybody, by the way, who's lukewarm on
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either all in or you're all out with Donald Trump. That's just kind of how it is with most people. But in looking at this other stuff, it was like, well, we all want the Donald Trump policy.
Mhm.
Well, what would you do about this? Well, I would do what Donald Trump did. Well, what would you do about this? Well, I'd pretty much do what Donald Trump did. So if you're all going to do what Trump did, why would anyone vote for you? I mean, at the end of the day, you offer absolutely nothing different. And if you have an option of taking the original or taking a copy, you're going to take the original. Why would you not? You know exactly what you have there. And Trump's able to go around the country and talk about the fact of, when I was in the seat, here's what I did, and your life was better when I was in the seat. It's really tough for the others to say, well, I would basically do the same thing that he did, but I would be nicer about it. I don't know that people want you to be nicer about it these days. I mean, when you look at what kept us out of an awful lot of wars and kept us out of an awful lot of problems with other people, and I would tell you, the media's portrayal of who Donald Trump is or was really helped us stay out of wars. Now, my fact/theory, really going out on a limb here, is why that worked, is because the Democrats kept talking about, he's crazy, he'll do anything, the rules don't apply to him, so you never know what you're going to get with this guy. He could do something crazy off the board. So what do the other people in the other countries hear? What is Putin here? What is Xi here? What does Rocket Man here in North Korea?
Yeah, they're sitting there going, well, a normal president surely wouldn't do that.
Right. But
he's not normal.
Right. That's the thing. The Democrats are all saying, this guy's going to get us into a war. This guy's going to do nuclear war. And if you're Putin, you've got to be going, I kind of believe them. I think he may.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to start anything because I really don't want a war with the United States. I'll do a war with somebody else, but I don't want to pick on the big guy in the block.
Right. Mike, are you a baseball guy?
I am a baseball
Have you heard
guy.
the expression for a pitcher effectively wild?
Yes.
That's exactly what Donald Trump was with foreign policy. You have a 95 to 99 mile an hour fastball, and you throw a strike 3 out of 5 times.
But those other two, it could be a little bit anywhere.
It could get you between the shoulder blades. You never know. And
There
so
you go,
nobody wants
Ricky
to
Vaughn.
nobody wants to stand within the box. And that was kind of what it was. And you look at that, and a lot of people forget about this. Right at the beginning of his presidency, there was that report that came out of Syria that what's his name? I can't think of the Syria's leader, but he gassed his own citizens. Do you remember that?
I do.
And then what did Donald Trump do? He shot a bunch of Tomahawk missiles at him.
Yes.
And then after that, no more problems.
No.
They knew that he was willing to, like, you test him, he's like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't want to do it, but I will. He did the thing, and they're like, he will. So let's not.
Well, and so years ago, this is bad for me to say this because it shows how old I am. So I grew up watching Happy Days.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Fonzie, who was the tough guy. Even though he was little, he was a tough guy. And you had Richie Cunningham, who was the opposite of the tough guy, right? So you had that episode where Fonzie is trying to teach Richie how to fight. And he's doing the tough guy attitude, and he's doing everything that Fonzie tells him to. And Richie's getting ready to get into this fight at Al's, and he goes, hang on. And he walks over to Fonzie. He goes, I don't get it. I'm doing the tough guy thing. I got the leather jacket, but this guy's not backing down. And he said, oh, sorry. At some point in your life, you had to have actually hit someone, right? The thing with Trump was, to your point, he hit someone. You had Iran, who started all this stuff and started getting into all these other things. Trump killed their number one war machine guy. I mean, he killed him. And he talked about, he cried. We could hear him crying. He was a whiner. I wouldn't have cried, but he was crying. You could hear him crying. And it's like, wow. I mean, he just calls you straight out. And when you do that, right or wrong, depending on where you are on Trump, but when you do that, the people who are looking at going to war with you have to shake their head and go, I got a pretty good thing going on here.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. I'm doing all my stuff. I'm pretty good. I should probably calm down. So it's interesting to do that. I just go back to that Happy Days thing. At some point in your life, you had to have actually hit someone. Trump has hit someone, and he's lived to talk about it.
He hit him hard.
He hit him very hard. So, hey, a guy who hits him hard, and he does it on a regular basis when it comes to sports, is Matt Pauley. He is the host of Sports Open Line on our sister station, KMOX. We are going to talk with Matt on the other side. I don't know if you got a chance to be a part of winter warm-up. That again was during a freezing cold weekend. But Matt was there. He sat through all that. He's going to catch us up on what's going on with baseball. We may even talk a little football. I think there was a crazy game with Chiefs and Bills last night. I may have seen that. So we're going to talk that on the other side. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is Blake Shelton and 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
The NFL playoffs live on Odyssey.
Throws, caught, touchdown as time expires. Unbelievable turn of events.
Non-stop coverage from the biggest sports radio stations in the country. Podcasts dedicated to each NFL team and postseason games streaming live for free.
Takes the handoff, looks right, throws right, end zone, caught, touchdown.
Your playoffs, your Odyssey. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminars Tuesday, January 30th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights, and Wednesday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Ring in the new year with the ultimate timeless gift, a diamond from Diamonds Direct.
Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating a lifetime of love in 2024, Diamonds Direct can make this New Year's one to remember forever. Diamonds Direct is the area's destination for exquisite diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and our nationwide price guarantee ensures you'll get the best value, period. To showcase that spectacular diamond, we have literally thousands of designer settings from all the top names like Tacori, Verragio, Simon G, A. Jaffe, and many more. And our experts will guide you every step of the way with the education you want and the respect you deserve. Engagement rings, wedding bands, eternity bands, fashion rings. At Diamonds Direct, we specialize in the ultimate symbol of love, and we welcome the opportunity to celebrate with you. So start the new year with some new excitement, new hope, and some new bling. Diamonds Direct at Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Download the Odyssey app to listen to 97.1 FM Talk and find content that moves you. Anytime, anywhere. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk on the go.
I'm at a party I don't wanna be at, and I don't ever wear a suit and tie. Wondering if I can sneak out the back. Nobody's even looking me in my eyes. Can you take my hand, finish my drink, say, shall we dance? Hell yeah. You know I love you, did I ever tell you?
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
So hope your Monday has been well. Hope you're staying warm and you didn't have to get out and about. But if you did, MoDOT and IDOT both did a really good job today. So we had Bob Becker on last hour, who's a district maintenance engineer for MoDOT for the St. Louis area. And they really did well. So hats off. I know we complain about them a lot when the weather's bad and you want your road clean and it's not clean. But I think a lot of people did a really good job today. And hopefully you get to get out and go get back to your normal life tomorrow. But it's kind of nice having that 3-day weekend. You know, a guy who never even has the weekends off, who just works all the time because sports is always, is Matt Pauley. And Matt is joining us today. Matt, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Are you on your way into the station as we speak?
I am driving home, actually. So I am in the car driving. I got to stop at home, change clothes. I just left the gym, and then I'll get in a little bit later on.
Look at you getting the gym in today on an icy day.
So I've got a straight, not to like totally pat myself on the back, but the year of COVID, I wanted something positive in my life because I was working with the Brewers and I was part-time. So when they lost 100 games that year, I'm living on credit cards. Like it just stunk. So I said, I'm going to start working out. And I have gotten at least 30 minutes of working out in for over 1,300 straight days going into COVID. I've not missed a single day.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm proud of that. So if you bring it up, I'll probably bring it up too.
The only streak I have going on is I have posted a dad joke on Facebook every day since August 16th of 2021. I've posted a dad joke every day there. Mine is not nearly as healthy as yours. I wish I had your streak, not mine.
I appreciate your streak. My streak is in a little bit of peril, though, because my wife is pregnant, and I don't think she would appreciate, in mid-June when she's giving birth, if I say, you know what, I got to go do some wind sprints in the hospital hallway. So we'll see what happens when she gives birth, if the streak might go away.
You can run in place in the bathroom. I'm just saying. It could be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you're a fat old guy like me, for some reason, Facebook thinks I need to be doing chair yoga because it's all over my Facebook feed. All I see is, how old are you? How much weight do you want to lose? You could do chair yoga.
Well.
So, Matt, I feel chair yoga could keep your streak alive.
We'll see. True story. When I was in Milwaukee doing those Cardinal games this past year, on the final day, that was a day game, and I didn't have time in the morning to work out. I did actually go to. I'm trying to remember. I went into a gas station and I went into the bathroom and I ran in place in the bathroom at a gas station for a half hour just to get my streak continued. So I'm pretty maniacal about this.
I'm just thinking of the people who saw you when you walked out of the bathroom have got to be going, the hell was that guy doing in the bathroom, and why is he that tired from doing it?
Yeah.
So before I get too far down that road, I wanted to follow up with you because last time I talked to you, you were in the middle of winter warm-up. How did that go?
It was awesome. I love that weekend between the warm-up and also Cardinals Caravan. I was out on a caravan as well that weekend. It's such a great weekend because when you're taking phone calls on post-game radio shows, when you're living on social media, I don't think I'm breaking any news when I tell people it's a pretty negative atmosphere. So when I'm out at warm-up and I see all these people coming in, and when I'm at these caravan events all throughout the Midwest, and all these people are coming to just get an opportunity to listen to Cardinals players and alumni speak, it just reminds me of how great of a fan base this is, and who, while I may be dealing with the vocal minority a lot, the not so vocal majority are people who continue just to be really excited about Cardinals baseball.
I was amazed at the crowds that you had because the weather was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so cold. And you still had a ton of people. I mean, Annie's husband and her son both made it down. What's that, last Monday? Last Monday?
It was Saturday. I met them, so they came by on Saturday on the first day of the warm-up, and it was great to me. I'd never met them before, so it was really cool to meet her husband and kid.
So what route of the caravan were you on? Where did you go to?
I went to Mattoon, Springfield, Decatur, and Centralia, Illinois.
So you got Central Illinois for your trip.
Yes.
I was amazed at how many places the caravan went.
Yeah, 6 states are represented. The one I did last year, I hit 4 states alone. There's one that goes Evansville, Indiana, Paducah, Kentucky, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and Marion, Illinois. That was the one I was on last year. So there's one caravan that does 4 different states. Yeah, it gets into Tennessee. It gets all over the place. It's pretty cool what they're able to do.
Hey, Matt, you've worked in other markets. I am always fascinated by what the Cardinals do in this outreach, like the Cardinals Caravan. Do any of these other teams do anything like this, or is this kind of really unique to St. Louis?
It's pretty unique. So, like the Fan Fest type events, there's some teams that do those. There's not as many since COVID. COVID canceled all of them, and some teams didn't bring theirs back. The Brewers had a really big fan event they would do every year, and they haven't brought that back. The Pirates haven't brought back their fan events. As far as the caravan goes, I don't know how many teams actually do it. I saw something on social media where another team was doing it, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it was. So there's at least one other team that does a caravan type thing. But for the most part, the way the Cardinals handle that, the fact that winter warm-up is 3 days long, that's pretty unique in its own right. So it's really cool.
We're talking with Matt Pauley, who is the Sports Open Line host on KMOX, and he is the studio host of the St. Louis Cardinals radio network. And, Matt, I think I told you one night when I was filling in on KMOX following Sports Open Line that my first job in radio was board-opping Cardinal baseball games in Berryville, Arkansas, the booming 3,600-person metropolis that is Berryville, Arkansas. That's why earlier, Brad, I said professional radio stations, not like the one that was actually in a shed that I've worked in. So I've worked at some lovely places, but it's amazing the passion that the Cardinal baseball fans have and how many places are Cardinal fans.
Yeah, one of the cool things about it is you mentioned your station. So we all know that KMOX has this incredible reach, especially at night. So the Cardinals radio network is last year was 144 stations. It fluctuates a little bit from year to year. Hopefully we add even more. It's the largest radio network in all of Major League Baseball. And in a bunch of those places, KMOX comes in loud and clear, but members of those communities like listening to Cardinals baseball on their hometown radio station, and there's something special about that.
It's very cool. And I remember my ownership group in 1982, they were at the World Series as an affiliate, that they got invited to come up as an affiliate and be there for when the Cardinals won the World Series in 82. Hey, any chance that you got any type of breaking news, or did the Cardinals talk about anything that they're expecting to have for the upcoming year?
No, last week they re-signed Matt Carpenter. He returns to the organization, and I think that caught a lot of people off guard. The reaction has been mixed from Cardinals fans. I think one group of people are excited to see Carpenter returning to the Cardinals. There's another group of people that say, you know what, there's probably some guys out there that are better ball players that are available. Why did they go with Carpenter? My take on that is he's the 26th guy on the roster. What he's going to bring you in the clubhouse is just as important. If we're being really honest about it, he's probably taking the roster spot of like a Jose Fermin, and nothing against Jose Fermin. He's a nice ball player, but do you want Matt Carpenter? Do you want Jose Fermin? It's not that big of a deal. I've been a little bit surprised by some of the somewhat visceral reaction to the signing.
Matt, I've asked this question on Twitter a couple times, and nobody seems to want to answer it or will answer it. And sometimes I find myself in that very vocal minority. I am not in that in this case. I'm a huge Matt Carpenter fan, but my question is, does Matt Carpenter make the Cardinals better?
That was a big sigh.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if he's the guy that he was with the Yankees 2 years ago, yes. If he's the guy that he was with the Padres for the first 4 months of the season last year, no. If he's the guy that he was with the Cardinals at the end of his time here, no. But this is a major league minimum deal. There is absolutely no risk here. So he's on a 40-man spot, but if he has a bad spring training, there's no guarantee that he's going to make the club. He's going to have to win a spot. I think he is. I believe he's going to have to win a spot on this team. So, again, there was so much made about clubhouse culture last year and how that somewhat dissipated. In some ways, it feels like maybe there's been an overcorrection when you look at the type of guys that they've brought in, but you'd rather have good character guys than not have good character guys. So his influence in the clubhouse could end up being just as impactful or maybe more impactful than what he does on the field. I will say this. So 2 years ago, he worked with Matt Holliday a lot and went into that year with the Yankees and was a different guy. He's been doing that exact same stuff this year. So if you squint, you can find reasons to be excited about this.
If you squint, you can get there. Can I tell you, when the news came through that he signed, I just saw on the screen in front of me that Matt Carpenter signed with the Cardinals, and I saw one, and it said 1 year. I thought what he did was he signed a one-day contract to retire. Because you have a lot of guys who do that. They come back to the club they were with forever. They sign that one-day deal, and they retire as a Cardinal, right? Even though they didn't finish their career here. It's just a nice way to put a bow on it. That's what I thought he was doing. Because to be honest with you, he dropped off my radar after he disappeared, especially after his stuff with the Yankees just kind of went through.
Yeah, he got a 2-year deal with the Padres last year at $5.5 million, and then in a salary dump, the Padres traded him to the Braves, and the Braves looked for somebody else to trade him to, and there was nobody who wanted to pick up his salary, so they just released him. So it was a total salary dump by the Braves, or by the Padres, I should say. The Braves, even though he never played a day with the Braves, they're going to be paying all but $750,000 of his contract for this year.
I was just about to ask you that. So that means Atlanta is making a very nice contribution to the St. Louis economy.
You could say that, yeah.
I appreciate that of them. Hey, I wanted to get your comments real quick before we let you go. Talking with Matt Pauley from KMOX about the playoffs this past weekend and what you expect to go forward. I'm happy for the Chiefs. That's great. But I'm really excited about what's going on with Detroit. And the underdog in me would love to see the Detroit Lions make it to the Super Bowl.
It would be really cool. 35 or so years since they've even been in an NFC Championship game. Just the second time they've been in an NFC Championship game. So, and watching it, I said I was at the gym. I can't tell you how many people at the gym today I saw wearing Lions stuff. Like, these people have been waiting for that game so they could come out and be wearing Lions stuff. I generally see a lot of people wearing Chiefs stuff at the gym, but today it was all Lions, which kind of caught me off guard. It's a really good story. I don't think they're better than San Francisco, but that doesn't mean they can't beat San Francisco. This upcoming weekend is maybe my favorite football weekend of the year because it's two Super Bowl caliber games without all the pomp and circumstance that goes along with the Super Bowl. If you're just a lover of the game of football, you get to sit down and watch two really good games. I think San Francisco and Baltimore probably win their games, but if Kansas City or Detroit wins, I'm not going to be surprised at all. These games are very much up in the air for me.
I would really love to see a Kansas City-Detroit game. I've told you before, I'm a Razorback fan, so Frank Ragnow is the center for Detroit. And
Yeah.
I would love to have a hog in the Super Bowl.
I say this with all due respect to all the Kansas City fans within the sound of my voice right now, but I am so over the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing that if I never see another Kansas City Chiefs football game again, I'll be super happy.
Matt Pauley, how great was it to watch Travis Kelce's brother pull his shirt off and drink a beer and run back and forth with the Kansas City fans last night?
It was so good. And I went to college at Kansas State, so all my buddies from college all live in Kansas City. And being on Facebook yesterday and seeing so many of my friends, and I'm 41 years old, so that's about the age of these guys too. I'm seeing so many of my friends post photos of them doing their own impersonation of Jason Kelce, taking their shirt off and everything. It's pretty funny. So that was, and then his daughter sent a text message that kind of went viral about dad showing his boobs or something. Like it's really funny.
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I think a lot of people, despite the Taylor Swift stuff that Brad was talking about, and there's a lot of people that are just tired of Taylor Swift in football, but Jason Kelce is an amazing guy. And him and Travis and the podcast that they do and how they've incorporated their mom into this story. I mean, just the whole Kelce thing is really cool. I do agree, the Taylor Swift thing. Every time that Travis catches a pass, I don't need to see Taylor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad she's excited for her boyfriend who's playing professional football. Good for her. Don't care. Let's get back to the game. But seeing Jason rip his shirt off, and Brad was even pointing out, look at the beer in his hand and how small that can looks in that guy's hand. And you realize what a meat hook that dude has for hands. And it was just, you could tell the weight of the world is off his shoulders because he's not playing anymore. I mean, he's done. And I think he is really enjoying this for his brother.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I'm the biggest wimp, though, when it comes to extreme temperatures. I watch these guys who are out there playing and don't have long sleeves on. I go, how in the world do they do that? I played a little high school football. I was a horrible high school football player. That was as far as it went for me, and I was simply never tough enough to be anything more than that.
I don't get those guys who are doing that whole, hey, it's freezing cold outside. Like last week in Kansas City when, it's 27 below and the guys have no sleeves on. I'm like, there's a fine line between manly and stupid. Well, and I think you've crossed it.
I saw Benjamin Watson talking about this, and he's a former NFL player, and he said that he always went without sleeves, and it was never anything to do with toughness or manliness or anything like that. He just didn't trust his grip on the football with sleeves on. And he goes, it's cold with sleeves and it's cold without sleeves. So I figured I would just be cold with a better chance of holding on to the football than dropping it. I was like, oh, that makes kind of sense.
That does make sense. I could see that. Well, hey, Matt Pauley, I appreciate you working us in today in between your workout and getting home. Have a wonderful show tonight. And are you on KMOX Sports Open Line tomorrow night as well?
Yes, I will be. I'll be there all week.
Excellent. Well, I will see you tomorrow night because I will be there tomorrow night. Hey, thanks for taking the time, man. We appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
That is Matt Pauley. He is the host of Sports Open Line on KMOX and about to be another dad, about to be a dad again. That's exciting news.
Yeah, I'm super impressed, and I just want to give him shout out and props for his gym streak. People don't understand how big of a commitment that is and how hard it is, but you've got to set your mind to it, and it shows tremendous resolve. So good for you, Matt. I'm proud of you, if that means anything to you at all. But
That is good for him. Hey, by the way, we're going to wrap up the show here in just a minute, but the YouTube live chat poll, we still want to hear from you if you haven't voted yet. Who do you support for the Republican nominee? Are you Nikki Haley? Are you Donald Trump? Or are you going third party? We will look at those results as we come up on the other side. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
'Cause I don't care when I'm
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I can deal with the bad nights when I'm with my baby.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Drury Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Drury Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Do I really have to talk about Ron DeSantis and his failed campaign? I suppose. I'd rather talk more about that fire truck that was slipping around on the ice this morning. Maybe we'll do both, and it all starts after Fox News coming up.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
So it's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today as the little holder on my microphone just snapped. How about that? There you go. I'm here to
Mike, you can't have you anywhere. You
just tearing stuff up, man. That's what's going on. If you haven't seen that video that Mark Reardon was just talking about, it was really cool, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but you need to go look it up because you've got a fire truck in Imperial that is coming down this side road and actually starts spinning around, whacks into a car, knocks the car pretty much either into the house or into the garage door or close to it, and it almost got into the house. It just slid right up beside. I mean, it was so close. I think there was a pickup truck on the other side of it that actually kept it from running into the house and kept it steady there. But that was crazy. So if you were looking at that this morning before you left the house and you were going, well, maybe I'll get out, that was enough to make you go, nah, I'm good. I'm sitting right here in my warm little PJs. I am not going anywhere. My dog this morning, I have this little 10-pound Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix.
Use that term loosely, dog.
Dog, yes. She's a little dog, but she's also 13. And when she stuck her paw out this morning and she hit that ice, and she's like, I'm not thinking I'm going out here. I'm like, oh no, you're going out there. You're definitely going out there because I'm not finding what you're going to leave me a little bit later on. So let's go outside and get that done real quick. YouTube live chat poll. If you haven't done that yet, who do you support for the Republican nominee? Nikki Haley, Donald Trump, or I'm voting third party?
So where am I on that?
Where are you on
when
that?
when I look at this, and this has changed over the course of the past couple months. I've looked at this. I was a Ron DeSantis supporter.
Me too.
Still am a Ron DeSantis supporter. I like Ron DeSantis. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think Vivek Ramaswamy has a bright future ahead of him. And I don't have anything against Nikki Haley.
Okay.
But like the whole argument for Nikki Haley was her electability. She would get elected, whereas Trump wouldn't.
Right.
And as much as I don't trust the polls, the more we see on polls, the more we see that Donald Trump has a shot.
Yes.
You know, he can be reelected, and especially if the things continue on the current trajectory, which the Biden administration, based on a recent Supreme Court ruling, has shown that they have no intention of changing their approach at the southern border. They're just going to scream more money and not get it from Republicans. It's important to understand with the southern border, when Joe Biden says, I want to fix the problem, he doesn't want to stem the tide. He doesn't want to secure the border. He just wants to process people faster.
Yeah, he says he wants more money to fix the problem.
Yeah, he wants more money so he can get more judges and more facilities so that they can process these people and get them into the United States faster.
Right.
That is not what is going to fix this issue.
No.
No, they need to secure the border, and there is a perfectly good plan in place, laws in place for declaring for asylum, to be an asylum seeker. You're supposed to go to a port of entry and do that.
Right.
So he needs to secure the border and start enforcing laws as they are on the book. The thing that's crazy about that is the man who I would pick for my vote in this poll used the same laws that Biden has available to him now to shut down the border. It was pretty much done. There wasn't a lot of people crossing, and that's Donald Trump. I think because Donald Trump can win and his policies line up closer with mine than Nikki Haley's, I'm Donald Trump on this one.
I'm not good at picking presidents, evidently, because in 2016, when all of the list of candidates started out, before Donald Trump had done anything, and you had a list of like 103 people that were running for the Republican nomination, or 17, it was one of the two, right? The guy who I really liked to be governor was Scott Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Scott Walker. I like governors to become presidents
because they've been doing presidential things.
They have. They've just done it on a smaller scale. And I think some of our best presidents have been governors. I mean, I am a Reagan Republican. That's just who I am. And I thought Reagan did an amazing job at setting the bar. And he was so good at actually being able to work with people and getting stuff done. And I thought Scott Walker did that in Wisconsin, in a blue state for the most part. And Reardon talks about it all the time. I thought he did really well. I think DeSantis will be a great president.
Yes.
I think 28, he needs to run. He and Trump, I think, are going to heal, and we'll go from there. So, obviously, I'm a Donald Trump guy moving forward. I'm not a never Nikki.
Right.
But Nikki's not my person, and third party is just wasting your vote.
Yeah.
So where did everybody come down on this?
So with 182 votes in,
wow.
Yeah, I was impressed too, because usually whenever we have a guest host, we're down a little bit, but that tracks right on where we usually are.
That lets me say thank you for not tuning out when Annie's not here.
So let's see how good my eyesight is. With 182 votes still in, the lowest was I'm voting third party at 5%. Then just slightly above that at 9% was Nikki Haley. And then the runaway favorite was Donald Trump at 86%.
I think it's safe to say the Annie Frey show is not big on Nikki. I just said, like I said earlier, I think Nikki's done. I was talking to the people in the kitchen earlier that I was telling you about. Show me a path. Nikki doesn't have a path, right? I don't have a problem with Nikki. And here's the big thing. I think for Trump to win, he's going to need Nikki's supporters to put him over the top.
Yes.
Because this is going to come. I mean, let's be honest, folks. The presidential election is really 6 states. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters, right? The rest of this stuff is just for show. Everybody else, we know where California, New York, Texas, Missouri, Illinois, we know where they're going. That's not a question.
Yeah.
So it's really going to boil down to the fact of that handful of states that we wonder about, with a Wisconsin, with a Minnesota, where are those people? Michigan, where are they going to be? Pennsylvania. That's really where it's going to come down to. And you've got so many people there that are Trump squishy, right? They are just not hard Trump. So you're going to need Nikki's people to put you over the top. Is he going to be able to heal that? We'll find out.
I know. Yeah. One of the things that I have just been stressing to anybody that I can stress online is you can't run a Salt the Earth campaign against anybody who ran against you in the primary, because 50% of the Republicans isn't going to be enough to win the general. You need 100% of Republicans and then some independents.
Hey, folks, I hate to tell you this, but at the end of the day, it's all about math. It's all about Annie Frey. She is back tomorrow. The full cast and crew is going to be here. My name is Mike Elam. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your Monday. And Mark Reardon is coming in next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Retirement Advisory Group is there to make sure that your retirement is protected. They want to make sure that you know that as you are approaching retirement, it's right around the corner, that you are going to have a worry-free retirement. Reach out to Thomas Helbig and make sure that you are taken care of. Tuesday, January 30th, the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event at the Frontenac Hilton. These events start at 6:30 p.m., but I'm going to be there at 6 p.m. along with my friends Mark Cox from the morning show here on 97.1 FM Talk and Mark Reardon, who comes on here after